दुखेषु द्विगिन्मना सुखेषु विगतस्पृहा वितराग भय क्रोधा स्थिति धीमो निरुच्यते। जिसका मतलब होता है कि जो व्यक्ति दुख में अपना धैर्य नहीं खोता, सुख में अपने अहंकार को अपने ऊपर नहीं होने देता, जो व्यक्ति अपने भय एवं क्रोध पर नियंत्रण कर लेता है, वही व्यक्ति वास्तव में स्थिर बुद्ध और स्थिर बुद्ध होता है। वही व्यक्ति वास्तविक में बुद्ध कहलाता है और वही व्यक्ति वास्तविकता में बुद्धिमान कहलाता है। सो दिस वाज द श्लोक नंबर 56 of Bhagavad Gita, and yesterday we have talked about the श्लोक number 55 of Bhagavad Gita. As continuing, we are much more to go. We have so many chapters and so many shloks. And this was from the Gita Kasar part 2. And now moving out towards our daily concept. So it is the concept of socio-religious reforms in our country. So at the time of first independent war, which was 1857, approximately every Indian knows that the first war of independence was 1857, and at that war sepoys had a great role. The cartilages, the Royal Enfield cartilages, and the various type of movements and the various tribal and hill uprisings, revolt, all of those revolts and all of those things we all know. But there are certain socio-religious aspect which was needed to be reformed and was to be needed to brought up in the society for a critical change. There are two types of change. First is physical change, and second is the mental or ideological change. A change which is in physical appearance or a change which shapes the mental ideology. It is different. So our society was a little bit conservative. According to Raja Ram Mohan Roy, the society of that time, the Hinduistic society of that time, was not according to the need of political demands of that time. And according to Max Weber, the Hinduistic society was the mix of a ritualistic culture and a type of ideology that was not based on a meritorious perform and a sustainable perform. So there were many social religious reforms which was needed to be initiated, and some of these reforms, movements and groups we are going to discuss, mainly 4 to 5, as much as we can cover in this video. So first one is the Amartya Samaj of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So Raja Ram Mohan Roy is also known as the father of Indian Renaissance because he was among the first of the pioneer to start a critical social religious reforms. So in this Samaj, he used to publish a magazine in Bengali, which was the very important in that time. And actually at that time, the magazine was built to bring up the ideological changes inside the minds of the people. It was against the sati. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was basically very adverse of sati. He saw her sister-in-law as going towards the process of sati. He fell down so much ashamed of himself and his rules and regulations that society has been put upon them. So he started the type of religious movements, and he used to publish the magazine. And after all, these all type and the various different type of conservative system which flowed in that time was also being criticized by the Raja Ram Mohan Roy. The magazine Samvat Kumbodi was the pioneer of the Raja Ram Mohan Roy, in which he mentioned the details and the why it should be criticized that time of religious or like ritualistic processes like sati. Many other magazines he also published, like Mirat ul Akbar, and he also wrote a book, Tufut ul Mujadri. And sorry if I am taking the wrong pronunciation, but it was a very initially and a very great book which dealt the light for bringing up the social religious reforms in India. After this, in 1828, he formed the Brahmo Samaj with two basic goals or two basic ideologies. First, about the monotheism, and second, to bring up the social harmony in the society. These both were very important with the context of that time. Keshav Chandra Sen also joined the Brahmo Samaj, but he was very radical and he was against of all of the things: caste marriage, intercaste marriage, widow remarriage, sati pratha, untouchability, and social hierarchy things. These were the issues with Keshav Chandra Sen. And Keshav Chandra Sen was so much aggressive, but he followed one very wrong mistake step. उन्होंने एक बहुत ही ज़्यादा गलत काम ये कर लिया कि उन्होंने अपनी माइनर बेटी की शादी एक माइनर प्रिंस से करवा दिया। जैसे कि उनकी जो बेटी थी वो माइनर थी, यानी कि वो 18 साल से कम की उम्र थी, उसकी शादी उन्होंने एक माइनर प्रिंस से भी करवा दिया। अब देखिए, वो अगेंस्ट है कि चाइल्ड मैरिज नहीं होनी चाहिए, साथ में वो अपने खुद के चाइल्ड की मैरिज करवा रहे हैं, तो फिर क्या हुआ? खत्म हो गया, क्योंकि वो ब्रह्मो समाज से उनको निकाल दिया गया था पहले ही उनके रेडिकल थॉट्स की वजह से। तो उन्होंने ब्रह्म समाज ऑफ इंडिया का गठन किया था, बट क्योंकि उनके बेटी की शादी की वजह से यहाँ से भी उनको बहुत ज़्यादा बैकलैश का सामना करना पड़ा, people started to frame a new Samaj. That was a new Brahmo Samaj, and it was the kind of a little bit lower radical in nature, but it used to criticize the very tough and rigorous socio-religious practices which was prevalent and was not in harmonious with society. And after then, so many other pioneers for it, like Devendranath Tagore, he used to join the Brahmo Samaj with Raja Ram Mohan Roy at the beginning also. And after that, there were so many other groups like Young Bengal Movement of Vivan Henry Dizorio, and he focused on equality, liberty, and principles of justice. And his followers were known as Dizorians, Theosophical Society, in which the Annie Besant later contributed, and she also established the Hindu College. Later, it was transformed into Banaras Hindu University with the help of Madan Mohan Malviya. Other societies like Arya Samaj of Dayanand Saraswati, with 3 major important magazines that were Ved Vyasa Bhumika, and Satyarth Prakash. Other than very important Samaj mission was the Ram Krishna mission of Ram Krishna Paramhans and the Devendranath Dutt, which was later known as the Swami Vivekanand. So these were some of the important pioneers group. Other than there are so many like Satya Sodhak Samaj and Ramakrishna Pai group for the women's like women's Arya Samaj. So there are so many social Wahhabi movement in Islam, Alankari movement in Sikhism, and there were also social religious reforms in Parsis in themselves. So there are n number of social religious reforms groups and leaders which were leading to the betterment of the society. But here we are going to contribute or construct them in a general way, and we will see that what are the basic things that they followed upon. So basically, in the forms of social religious movements, there we can draw the two categories. First one is the reformist, and second one is the revivalist. The reformists focused on reforming the bad and rigorous practices that were prevalent in the society, like child marriage, like sati, and they used to work on the two basic principles: agents and the subject. Usually, agents were against of those rules, and they used to transform the subjects, which were the bottom line of the society. Whereas in the revivalist movement, they thought that going back to Vedas or going back to Upanishads is the best way in which they can reawaken the society, like Arya Samaj and one of the major difference between both of these two, that the reformist movements focused on the Indo-Western education system, whereas the revivalist movement completely disregarded the Indo-Western type of education and ideologies, where they followed that we can learn all the things from our Vedas. So this was the major difference between reformist and revivalist movement. Thank you.